welcome. Hello everybody. For those who are new to the channel, welcome to Chakras and Cuss Words podcast and brand. My name is Catherine. I am the host of Chakras and Cuss Words podcast and the brand creator. Today I am hopping on here, coming and holding space to talk about 2/22/22. So for those who are following this date, this event, you probably already know there's a lot of things in the works with 2/22. So first of all, 2/22 is a astrological event based on intentions, spirituality, cosmic energy, enlightenment, and also transition and transformation as we welcome the planet Pluto back to US. So for those who are just learning about this, Pluto has been out of the US territory or solar system or birth charts for many years. We won't have Pluto in our birth chart placements, and we won't have Pluto in our areas of growth because Pluto has been basically too far away, right? So Pluto is now making its rotation back. Through the centuries, Pluto has conjuncted and also opposed with Uranus, but this is the first time that we're going to have Pluto back. Nobody has actually experienced this because the last time that Pluto has been present with US territory has been in 1776. So this is a huge transformation and this is a huge shift. Many astrologers are focusing on the area that Pluto is actually placed in, which is the Capricorn at 27 degrees. So when we think about that and what the Capricorn really resembles of like leadership and authority, it makes us speculate that there's probably going to be a transformation in what we usually know, and it's going to be a shift. And don't be nervous or don't be hesitant at thinking, oh my goodness, this god of the underworld is coming back. And he's coming back to shift and change everything that we've already known. The last time that Pluto was here was back when the United States actually had their Declaration of Independence. So there's some similarities with this. We see some similarities in transitions and also transformation. And what I would like to say is when we are transforming into a new state, into a new purpose, into a new area, as long as what we hold value for is solely our key, it's not going to change who we are. It's not going to change our areas of work. It's not going to change our areas of what we know as of today. But what it will change is more growth and more transformation towards new things. And let's be honest, some of these things we have to say goodbye to. Like when we think about it, are we really living in the standards and focus that was brought to us in 1776 for the country? No. We are forever evolving and we are changing. We see a high demand now with NFTs and crypto and Bitcoins here. So there is a huge transformation in what we know in authority, leadership, and in government. So let's take that into account as we are moving forward into further decades and centuries now that Pluto will be making its mark. Also, what I want to pay focus to is that in 2022 being the date that Pluto actually returns, we have to look at the numerology behind that number and what is it telling us spiritually on a soul level. That number really represents the trusting of our intuitions and the trusting of our soul and spirit when we move forward in the decisions that we make. So as we are moving forward in new transformation and saying goodbye to certain shadowy events and saying hello to some new ones, let's always have our dignity and capacity to continue to move forward and to really trust our core message and our intentions. So for this read, I'm actually going to be pulling some cards for the upcoming week of the Pluto return and of 2/22/22. For those who are interested, I am offering a package, a cosmic tribute for all this mystical energy that's coming enlightened in this next week. And if you are interested in purchasing it, it is $22.22 and it is on my website. And what you will receive out of this package is a sound energy healing session that is devoted to sleep. And the reason why I chose to do one, because it is supposed to get you towards the meditative state before you enter your sleep cycle, is because it's really going to bring the clearing and the healing that many of us are needing during this transition. You will also receive a collective read for the month for this transition and upcoming events, and also a lot of journal prompt entries for getting your upper 3 chakras fully aligned and ready to take in these new intentions, intuition, and also decision-making processes. A lot of times, most of my clients, we focus on the lower chakras, which are focused on roots and stability and also our foundation. But with this high energy cosmic being coming around us, it's more important to actually focus on the top, which would be our crown chakra, our head chakra, our third eye, and our throat chakra. So that's what we will be concentrating on in the packet if any of you are interested. So let's start the reading. So I will be pulling 2 cards in this reading. If you would like to book a private reading with me, the only way you can book a private reading with me is through my website. I will actually be using a oracle deck. I am not doing tarot. I don't pull tarot on these live readings for multiple reasons. And this is a oracle deck, and this is the Starseed deck. And then I am also going to use an affirmation card, which is the botanical, botanical inspirations. Okay, so let's start with the Starseed oracle deck. And for those who have been following me on my YouTube channel and also following me on my Instagram, you know that I go in the most same basic rotation. It never changes. It is fire, water, earth, and then air. So the first card I am picking is for the fire signs. And for the fire signs, we have right here, cracked open. Okay, that's the first card that came through. Cracked open, rock bottom, surrender to the alchemy of life. And when we're seeing this card, it's really making me think that many fire signs might be at their vulnerable state right now, at their open area, where they are feeling like everything is showing. Like the spirit is showing, the soul is showing, the cosmic energy that they're aligned with is really showing. And what this means of being more centered in the alchemy of life is giving tribute back to the beauty of the universe. So for the fire signs, I want you to really surrender to that. And when I mean surrender to the universe, it's really important to take in all the things that come freely, like listening to the birds, being grounded with nature, being grounded with what is outside of the home and also what is inside the home. So for the fire signs, if you are feeling that you are at this like rock bottom state right now, or you are transitioning, take time to really appreciate. And although fire is your element, I want you to use it in a very subtle way. I don't want you to burn many intentions. I don't want you to release with too much fire. I actually want you to concentrate on giving nurturing gestures back to the earth and back to the alchemy of life. So if you can make like a water fountain in your home or buy a water fountain and place it in your house, I recommend that. And I also recommend removing all the dead foliage from your area. and that is for the fire signs. And for your affirmation card, for the fire signs, you will get an affirmation card as well. And let's see, this is a smaller deck. It's like this little, woo, there we go. We have Tik Seed, always joyful, write in your heart that every day is the best day of the year. And the writer of this quote is Ralph Waldo Emerson. And it's just a little, it looks like almost like a daisy, but it's called a Tik Seed. So take time to really be joyful when you can, especially when we have this like energy that's wide open. It's hard. So follow this card and bring in the yellow, bring in the solar plex chakra, definitely bring in some fresh flowers into your house. Sometimes stuff as simple as that really makes a difference. And that is for the fire signs. So if anybody would like to share what zodiac they are, I would love to see it in the comments. Go ahead and drop me what zodiac you are. Give this room some likes. So now we are going towards the water signs, and the next card is for the water signs. And we have surrender to the sweetness. Venus energy, pleasure, joy, make love to life. Isn't that card pretty? It looks really divine. And for the water signs, I feel like this card really fits. And we have that Venus energy. Like right now, we did just have the, well, actually, they're actually still conjunct. Mars and Venus right now are still conjunct. So we have the Mars and Venus energy. So what I really want you to do if you are a water sign is surrender to love, like take it in. Take in the areas of pleasure. Really sit in that Venus energy, sit in that luxury energy. And I know a lot of us think like luxury means expensive. It doesn't mean expensive. It means divine. So some of the most luxurious things have no price. As you can see in this card, she's like centered by the water, and she's encountered by this enlightenment of rainbow, and there's somebody by her side. So when we're thinking of having an area towards somebody else and having a connection card, and this is really almost like a card that is reading a connection. So if you are a water sign in a relationship, take time to spend it with a person that you truly feel joyful being around, and also make love to life. And what does make love to life mean? It really means enjoying the space that you're in, as simple as it is as like running somebody's bath water, putting like some flowers on their bed, or sending them a little note in their lunch pail. But make that gesture that you have stepped into your Venus energy, and Venus is the only feminine planet. So when we think about stepping into our Venus energy, become very seductive in that state of the Venus, pick up on that intriguing factor that Venus is the only feminine planet. So dive into your feminine energy. And that is for the water signs. And then for your affirmation card, I have Bellflower, gratitude. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. And it is by Melody Beattie. Oops, hold on. So step into that throat chakra energy too with this card, I'm feeling, where you really speak your vision, what you want tomorrow to be, especially if it is with a love, how you see the relationship going. and step in it with like gratitude. Like you're so thankful for the relationship and you're very thankful for what might come of it. Definitely there could be some high energy moments coming up, a big transition for the couple if you are a water sign in love. So definitely let tomorrow and the vision of tomorrow lead the way in your joy. And that is for the water signs. And next we have the earth signs. Any earth signs in this room? Do we have any earth signs in here? For the earth signs, the first card I see is golden children, inner child, tenderness and innocence, and rare gifts. And this really speaks as like a star seed card. If for those who follow star seed culture, you know that the star seeds are this cosmic energy that aren't necessarily grounded in earth. They are very more cosmic. And what we think about this with the golden children, it's really taking in that piece of like your cherishable moments as a child. And when we think of healing like the inner child, a lot of us have to develop strategies or patience with ourselves to actually heal our inner child, because it takes a lot of work. And it's nothing that's gonna ever be like fully, completely done. Like, you know, we can all try as much as we do, but a lot of us who have suffered from like PST or traumas as a child, that it is a process and it doesn't happen overnight. So be kind with yourself when you're thinking about healing your inner child. Also take in the tenderness. How would you treat yourself as a child? So if you were able to go back to your old self as a child, how would you talk to them? How would you share enlightenment with them? What gestures and what areas of hope would you give them? Because those are the same areas and hope that you're going to want to give yourself right now as you are seeking this tenderness and this loving heart towards your past self. Is you're really going to speak to the innocence of that child, to the purity of that child. That is when many of us are in our most divine state, is when we were young, when we were babies, before we are corrupted by this world, before this world shows us some forms of shadow. We are in our most enlightenment state as a child, as a baby. So when we think about that and how we heal our inner child, make sure to also think of the areas that aren't notable to your everyday. A lot of times when we want to get more centered with our inner child and we want to heal, we should pay tribute to where we felt the safest as a child. If that was, at home with our mother, or if it was at school, on the playground, or maybe it was high up in a tree. Where did we feel the most safest? That's the rare gifts, that area of security. And see if you can create your own safe space from something that reminds you and brings healing towards that inner child energy for you to release. So that is for the water signs, to heal the inner child. And for your affirmation, I'm sorry, that was for the earth signs. And for your affirmation card for the earth signs, we have Honeysuckle. Domestic happiness and devoted affection, I will win. 3 in my arms, so cloth the woodbine. The honeysuckle, gently and twist. William Shakespeare. And when you think about the honeysuckle as a plant, it's not very pretty, right? Like, it's pretty, but it's not, it has very sturdy roots. Like, it has very strong features. It's not like a delicate rose or daisy. It's not whimsical in that aspect. It's whimsical in its own aspect. Like, it grows into like this bush where it has multiple little petals and buds of the honeysuckle. So when you first look at the honeysuckle, for those who have seen it in its real form, the card does pay tribute to it. You might look at it and think, wow, you know, it's almost like a bushy plant or flower. And when we're paying the domestic happiness to it, and we kind of like take in that smell of the honeysuckle, it's very strong. That's why a lot of times we see a lot of lotions and fragrances and rituals. We will use the honeysuckle because it is a very fragrant plant and it's a very distinct smell. So when we're thinking of the honeysuckle and bringing it into the home, bring it in areas that it's not a permanent space, it's a transition space. So bring it into the hallways, into the doorways, bring it into the back patio, bring it into an area where you aren't feeling overwhelmed with the honeysuckle, with the fragrance of the honeysuckle. It definitely takes some time to get used to. And when we think about the devoted affection that this card's really speaking about, when we bring in something as grand as the honeysuckle, because it is a bigger plant, when we bring something as grand as the honeysuckle into our home or into our fragrance, if we're using it on our body, take time to really be devoted to it, because you sometimes might get turned off from it, but the honeysuckle actually has a lot of love potencies. When we are thinking about creating intentions towards love and areas of healing our inner child, like the first card, we're going to want to use it in a very simple space, so we're not going to overwhelm ourselves with it. And that is for the earth signs. And the next card is for the air signs. If there's any air signs in the room, go ahead and drop some hearts or drop some emojis, and I will see if there's an air sign in here. Any air signs in here? Okay, perfect. So the first card I see is lifting the veil, questioning everything. Anything unlined must go. And that is for the air signs. And when we think about like questioning everything, that's such an air sign trait. Like, they are the overthinkers. They're very intentive. They're very smart. But they do tend to like overthink everything, you know? Somebody could tell you, like, to an air sign, I love you. And the air sign would be like, how come? They question everything. It's part of them being an air element to question a lot of areas. They are seen as very high enlightenment base. And sometimes they have a very high energy. Right now for the air signs, anything unaligned must go. And when we think about lifting the veil, it really speaks to our intentions, right? And what we already know, like our intuitive state. So if we know that we're lifting the veil and we've already been questioning it repetitively, we probably already know the answer, right? We already kind of know what is behind the veil. We already know what's there. So we really don't need to continue to question on something that we already know the answer to. We just have to accept it. And for the air signs, sometimes that's the hard part, is the accepting part. Air signs tend to move a lot. They move free with the wind, where they're not as grounded as like a Capricorn or a Taurus or a Virgo. That's ground base. They have more of a flow to them. So the acceptance down in like the root chakra is sometimes very hard for them. They work off of the higher energy of the crown and the third eye. So anything unaligned, and if you are an air sign and this card resonates with you, you already know. Like, you already know it's unaligned, and you just have to accept it and let it go. And that could be with anything. That could be like with a job. That could be with a relationship. That can even be with something as simple as, where am I spending my space? Where am I spending my time? Is it really aligned with me? Right? Is it really like somewhere that I want to be, or is it somewhere that I need to move forward with and let it go? So for the air signs, definitely it's time to lift the veil and accept and let go. And I have a few air signs that are clients, and I know the air signs have been in like this really heavy transition space for them. So sometimes you just gotta let it go. And for the affirmation card for the air signs, here we go. Lilac. Ooh, this is one of my favorite plants. First emotions of love. Love is the magician that pulls man out of his own hat. Ben Hatch.